Corporate governance came as a result of my getting on to a number of boards of directors of companies through my teaching, and students and other business people that I got to know invited me to go on boards. And corporate governance is essentially how the corporation, which has been one of those unique institutions that we have that's been grown and grown and grown, is now growing worldwide, but it really had its origins back in the UK and a few other countries when corporations got formed. Now how do you respond to the ownership? And when it's privately owned, that's pretty clear. There's a guy or a woman who owns the controlling part of the business, and the governance, they're the ones that that control the governance of it, which is the whole business of the structure, from who's the chief executive, who are the leading people that are managing the business and controlling the strategic decisions that a corporation takes, all in the interest of making the most possible money out of the business, and maybe over an extended period of time. And then gradually businesses got to have shareholders. They began issuing shares and getting more and more people who held a fractional ownership in the corporation. And the question became, this is where governance began to come in, how do these people, how does the management respond to these people, their obligation to the owners, and the owners express their needs and requests to the senior management. They became quite separate, ownership and management. And governance is the question, is dealing with the question of how you mesh the interests of the owners of the business with the management of the business. Traditionally, it's done through a board of directors. They became, well, then the question is, how do you elect a board of directors? And that's become a very major issue. Quite often they're appointed by the president or the chief executive officer. In the United States, the chief executive officer and the chairman of the board are quite often combined. I mean, something like 2/3 of the corporations in the United States have a joint CEO, president, or have had. It's diminishing now. So that the person managing the business was appointing buddies and friends and relatives and others to the board. Well, these people became beholden to the management. But anybody else who owned shares was not getting a fair connection with it. And quite often the shareholders were not well done by. And I think you've had a growing revolt on the part of shareholders as the shareholdings expanded and grew over time to broad-based organizations. The question became, how do we get the views of these people expressed to management, and management accepting the responsibility of reporting to these people? That's corporate governance, and that's what's happening and has been happening. And it's been very, very poor in many situations. Many times the shareholders have not been well represented. Managements tended to run the corporations for their own benefit. And it's created a structure that certainly needed a lot of attention. And that's what got me, because eventually in my own career I got to serve on a number of these boards, and I was quite dismayed at what I saw in terms of the job as I saw it. and began to write about it. And I've published a lot in that field as well now, in corporate governance, and how to make boards of directors work better for the owners of the business.